This episode of Linux Action Show is brought to you by GoDaddy.com.
And by Ting.com. Head over to last.ting.com and save $25 off your first device.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Linux Action Show, Season 29, Episode 9. My name is Chris.
My name is Matt.
Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning.
Should I tell folks about the big show today?
Oh, yeah.
This week on the Linux Action Show, we're going to review Linux Mint 16, both the Cinnamon and the Mate. The Mate edition. Whatever you want to call it, on the show, and we'll give you our thoughts on this new release. Plus, in the news segment, we're going to talk about a new worm that's spreading to Linux boxes, and we're going to holla at Jolla.
Holla at Jolla. I see what you did there.
We're going to do the Jolla phone updates, Jolla phones. There's a whole roundup of stuff, and we got a surprise in the news segment. Then in the feedback segment, we're going to blow your mind with something you never even knew ran Linux.
Oh, yes.
But first, Matt, it is, of course, our picks here on the big show. And I want to warn folks up front, I'm sick, so I might cough a couple of times. And Matt is sitting next to bacon right now. And he might just start eating bacon.
Well, and if we ever buffer, we'll just load bacon.
Yeah. Stand by. Bacon
is loading.
Take a bacon minute. A bacon
This
bumper.
is internet bacon. I mean, this isn't just any bacon. This is like high-end bacon.
I actually did buy that off the internet.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
All right, Matt. Well, we got a lot to get into this week, so I thought we'd start with the Runs Linux pick.
Yeah.
Now, this is one that I have been dreaming about a device like this, and there's a few out there that have worked with the Mac before, but they didn't run Linux and they didn't satisfy my needs. But now, Matt, a network-powered DVR runs Linux.
Oh, dude, that's so awesome.
So it's from Really Simple Software, and they're accepting pre-orders for it right now. They have a shipping model you can buy. I'll tell you more about that in a second.
Cool.
Here's the difference. Unlike normal DVRs, the Simple.TV device doesn't have any AV outputs.
Oh, really?
No internal storage. You're not going to hook this thing up to HDMI. Instead, it transcodes and stores the broadcast or unencrypted TV cable to a USB-supplied hard drive. It has an Ether port that enables local internet access from browsers on desktops, laptops, and mobile devices. So what this becomes is a network-based tuner. So you put this device on your network, you plug in your tuner. Now think about this. Maybe, if you have over-the-air, you might have to put your antenna up in your attic or something like this. You can hang this off of this, and then every device on your network can connect into this tuner over Ethernet. It'll work with over-the-air antennas or unencrypted cable, which is pretty nice. So you can see you've got an input
and these
right
days, the fact that it's working with antennas is big because unencrypted cable is becoming something of a yesterday kind of thing.
Yeah, it sure is.
It's disappearing.
You can see here's the simple UI where you can go to it in the web browser. You get your channel listing.
Ooh, real clean.
It's very basic. Yep, but it totally gets the job done. Plus Roku app. So you can watch. How do they get that cool space background on the Roku, Matt? I want that.
I don't know. I think that's part of the development of it.
So here you go. So you can connect into the Simple TV and look at all of its recordings or stream live TV to your Roku box.
Wow.
It's pretty nice. You can see they have multiple devices here. It runs on a MIPS architecture and running the Linux underneath it. And it supports for H.264. It can do up to 6 streams. So it has 2 tuners and it can stream to 6 devices at once. They're running, in this case, they're running 2 1080p ATSC MPEG-2 video streams and getting 6 H.264 streams out of the box.
Oh, nice. And I love the fact that it not only supports multiple devices out of the box, but it also allows you to actually record 2 programs at once, especially when you got, if you're getting over the air and you got 2 programs you want to watch same time. It's irritating, but this takes care of it for you.
Uses JFS for the file system. The orders for the new 2 tuner box, $250. You can currently buy the 1 tuner box for $150, which is essentially the same exact box, except for 1 tuner versus 2 tuners. They have mobile apps for Android and iOS expected by the end of the year.
Score! Yeah, right? Especially you got like a little tablet, you put that up there.
I like this I was thinking for the Unfiltered show is I don't have TV service yet, currently. But in the future, if I did get it or if I could set up an antenna, I like the idea of just taking this guy, setting it up, hooking up like a 3 terabyte external USB drive, and just saying, go at it, friend, and then I'll just come back and look at what you've recorded. And from any device I want, too.
Well, and I think this is great. I mean, your order of progress is you go to TV Fool, you actually see what your antenna directions are, what channels you're going to get in your area. Check that out, because some people are better off than others. Find out what kind of antenna it's recommending. Get that bad boy, pop this in, and you're good to go, kids.
What I was really seriously considering going with Myth TV over Plex. I looked at going with over-the-air antenna, and I'm just kind of out of luck where I'm at.
So am I. Yeah. I live in the valley, so it's
can you get Canada signals?
We can.
Canadian?
It's you don't
want that junk.
Well, some of the stuff's better than others. So some shows are just
Wow, Matt. Wow. Look at you.
So, yeah,
Canadian
it's,
friends.
you know.
I like your content because often you run Voyager. You rerun Voyager.
Oh, they got better reruns than we do. But it's just like because I can only get the only real station I get really well is like Channel 12 based in Bellingham, which is technically Canadian owned, but it's like a lot of American stuff, and so it's like
nice.
It's got kind of a personality thing going on.
Well, full, here on the big show. Let me scoot over. Full disclaimer, Matt. I have a little whiskey in my tea, so if we get a little punchy, you can blame the whiskey and the bacon. I'm trying to prevent myself from coughing.
Yeah.
But I was wondering. I kind of had a late night, and I was curious when you pulled up this morning. Did you notice the big semi truck parked in the driveway?
No.
Yeah, it's on the side of the house.
That's scary. That I didn't notice the fact you have a semi truck.
Well, I'll tell you, man.
I went right by it.
Well, it's not too uncommon because
God.
it's actually camouflaged like a ninja would camouflage
That might be
truck.
it. I did run into something invisible.
So I had a house guest stop by last night. His name is Jean-Claude Van Damme. You might be familiar with his work. And he stopped by and I said, "So, hey, I saw your truck stunt. That was really cool. What were you up to with those?" He said, "You know why I got those trucks, Chris?" And I said, "Why?" "I'm going to get out on the road. And he's going to ride those things, Splitsvilles, across America and into Canada if he has enough time. And he's going to kick every person in the face who hasn't taken advantage of our new GoDaddy promo code." And when I say kick, I mean kick you with the splits. He's gonna ride these semis to your house, and then he's gonna go to your house and he's gonna just splits on your head. And he demonstrated it for me last night. And his Van Damme crotch is just like all up in my face the way he's doing it, Matt. It is
tidy whities.
Yeah, it's right there, Matt. So I don't want that to happen to you guys out there. I would actually have him say hi. He's up sleeping in my bed right now. But you don't wake up Van Damme.
Good to know.
Van Damme needs to sleep. You do not wake up Van
Do not
Damme.
wake him up. That's like
not
foot
even
to
for the
face.
big show.
Bam!
You know what? Danica, she'd come on. She'd say this episode's brought to you by every single Sunday morning. Not Van Damme.
No,
he's not waking up. He'll be up around 3-4 o'clock when last is published. He'll probably watch it.
Hopefully not finishing off your tea there.
Well, hopefully not. This is my tea. But you know what? If Jean-Claude wants it, Jean-Claude can have it.
This is true.
So let me tell you what you need to do so that way you don't have Jean-Claude's crotch in your face. Go take advantage of our GoDaddy offer. The Linux Action Show is brought to you by GoDaddy, and their new website builder makes it easy to create your own website, put your business online, and find new customers. You can choose from hundreds of customizable designs, and you are on your way. Website builder even includes a free domain, hosting, and 24/7 support. It is go time, my friends. So visit GoDaddy.com, enter promo code WSB6, Website Builder 6. It makes so much sense now. Website builder.
You begin to put that together. It's like, snap.
Yeah. Gosh, you know what? That's why he kept repeating WSB6 last night while he was giving me a man massage. So go over to GoDaddy.com to get your free domain, your hosting, and 24/7 support for $1 per month when you use WSB6. You can use this to get something online quick. They have SEO optimization baked in. They're always watching the trends and modifying the underlying structure of your site. They can also spin off mobile versions. And friends, if you're busy like I am or even a little weak in the CSS foo, go take advantage of their brand new tools over at GoDaddy.com. They've got a great new tool to help you get online with their fast, reliable, and secure hosting. And now, combined with that integrated website builder, it has never been a better time to own your piece of the web for your business, for your name, for your brand, product, project, whatever it is. Go to GoDaddy.com and use the promo code WSB6. And thank you very much to GoDaddy.
Right on.
For sponsoring the Linux Action Show.
Good stuff. And thanks to Van Damme for giving Chris a man massage.
Yeah,
He
that was
appreciates
great because I slept on the couch so that way I didn't wake my wife up with the coffee.
Get that stress out of your shoulders, you know.
It just really...
Get it all worried. He's got those hands, right? I mean,
Oh, does he have those hands? Let me tell you.
Telling you.
Let me tell you. All right, Matt. So it's time to move on to our weekly desktop pick and our spotlight. So, I had a really low-level system utility that was going to let you really tweak the internals of your system, and I decided to punt it for a week and go with a game because I haven't picked a game for a while.
I think it's due.
And one of the benefits of running Mint is you get that real close Ubuntu compatibility, so Steam might be high on your priority list, so it seemed to make good sense on the Mint review episode. And this week, I want to talk about a fun game, and one that's on sale right now for like $3.80. I've picked shooters, where you're shooting guys.
Yeah.
I've picked alien missions.
You're big on alien missions.
I've done all that kind of stuff, but this week, it's time to relax and have something fun. It's called Gravity Badgers, Matt.
Well, it's got badgers in it. I got to check this out, right? I mean,
So, Gravity Badgers, now, it is a casual game.
Okay, I gathered that from badgers.
Yep, you step into the spacesuit of a valiant of Gravity Badger, Captain T. Baypack, as he ventures into the deadly depths of deep space to save his friends, family, and the universe itself from the threat of evil deadly honey badgers.
So it's not just badgers, guys. This is space badgers. I mean, this is like to the 10th degree.
Yeah.
This is good stuff.
It's an indie game. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, it's already running.
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to say it's a clone of Angry Birds because it's definitely not that, but it is heavily inspired by Angry Birds.
I love the graphic for that. That is fantastic. I mean, you look at the graphic; it's got the little space helmets and whatnot for the audio listeners.
All right, so let me give you a little.
This is cool. I'd play the hell out of this.
Oh yeah, it's fun for just like sitting back and relaxing. So here, I'll give you a little. I'll give you a couple.
God, that's awesome.
So you got lots of levels to pick from, and so here's some that I was playing recently, and let's pick just randomly like level number 7.
So this is your level selection. Oh,
yeah,
you got time warp.
And so you can see there's a little bit of Angry Birds-esque to it.
Sure.
But it's really about manipulating gravity. So this blue planet is a pusher. Red planets are pullers and blue planets are pushers. And so I know that depending on my arc, I can push off that gravity wave.
Oh, okay. So for propulsion.
Yeah.
I see.
So he pushes me. Oh, I still missed my target.
So if you're an old Missile Command fan, this would probably be pretty natural then.
Oh, you see also there,
interesting.
I didn't get the right amount of velocity.
And so then it does a 180 on you.
Yeah, so here, let me, oh, geez, that's
hello.
embarrassing. That is horribly
Oh, my
embarrassing.
goodness.
This is one of the more simpler levels just to kind of show you, but, so there you can see oh gosh.
So as you approach the blue planet, it basically is going to help you shift down toward your target.
And you see, just like an Angry Birds, you can start over. Let's see, maybe,
That's good.
Maybe I can finish one? I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
I might have been drinking too much whiskey tea, but here's a good challenging one. So
boy.
there's a lot of stuff going on in this map.
Now those are propulsion. So you come near them, they're going to propel you.
And see now, so now I'm going to go like here. Right,
no way.
see what's up here, Matt, and then...
So these little twirly asteroid-looking ice cube.
Oh no!
Oh, missed the planet. Totally missed target.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was embarrassing. Let's pretend like we didn't see that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm gonna go this way. Okay. Go. Oh no. Okay. All right. Okay.
He's twirling.
Okay,
Can he
go,
make
go.
it?
I made it.
Black hole. You went to the black hole. That's what you want.
So I got 2 stars because I died once, just like
That's
in
not
Angry
bad.
Birds. Yeah, it's fun. So now I move forward, and now I'll show you one of the more advanced levels too. So let me go back to the main screen, and maybe we'll go up to let's go up to this guy.
Yeah.
Here's another level.
Okay. Ooh, I like this.
Oh, you
This
see
is
now?
Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a very angry-looking space snake.
See, now we got some challenges going here, and let me show you another one.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Honey. Did Gravity Badger? There it goes.
Gravity
There's a little
Badger.
storyline,
Oh, it's there. Well, that's kind of
illustrated storyline.
Cool. I
Yeah.
love the artwork. The artwork's really well done.
All right, so here's a cool one. All right,
Okay.
so check this out. So then you get to more advanced
This is very
puzzles.
puzzly now.
Yeah, and so you gotta see what you gotta do is your main goal is to get into that green vortex. However, as you can see, there's gonna be some challenges. Like I need to get all these yellow stars to get all the coins.
Sure.
I can only enter through blue portals and exit through purple portals.
Oh, wow. That's a
So
lot.
since I played this one, I kind of know the trick here. I go over it. Oh, don't
Oh,
run into
wow.
asteroids.
Apparently don't hit asteroids.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
Oh, don't do that either.
Don't hit
See,
the
it's
side
tricky.
of
So what I want to do is hit that pipe,
And go through it?
go through it. Yeah, not
okay.
smash into it like I'm doing right now.
Okay. So maybe come up a little higher.
This is like
you nailed
there we
it.
go. Boom.
Okay, so you made it to the next
I didn't
blue
get my star, but I'm
can.
good. So I only got
2
2
out of
stars.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there you go. Gravity
pretty cool.
Badgers, it's like $3.70 on Steam right now. It's totally worth it. There's lots of levels. It is a little repetitive, I'm not going to lie. If you like your Angry Birds types gravity games, like my son just loves Angry Birds, so this is a great one for us.
I could see this
because-
being a lot of fun with whiskey tea, too.
Yeah, sure. With whiskey tea, it gets even better. And I'll tell you something too, Matt. I thought at first when I first downloaded it last night because I just got this recently, I scratched it from the pick.
Did you
list.
really?
Yeah, and I thought, you know what, this is
Your rationale was just like, this isn't worth it.
it's
This
so
isn't-
repetitive. It's so close
Okay.
to Angry Birds that like I'm going to show this to the last audience and they'll roll their eyes.
Sure.
And then I kept playing it for about another 45, 50 minutes, and then I realized I was having a really great time. And because I like to have sometimes a low stress kind of casual game, that I can
Almost
just
like
fire
an
up on Steam.
unwinding of the mind.
Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. So that
times.
was what was that called?
And it's in my price range.
Gravity
Check that
Badgers.
out.
Yeah, Gravity Badgers $3.74 on Steam right now, available for Mac, Windows, and Linux. The GNU /
stuff.
Linux. Yeah. All right, now let's
on.
get serious.
All right.
I'm also. This is another one where I'm taking advantage of the fact that I'm on Mint this week for our review, because while it's available probably for Arch, I mean everything is.
Sure.
It is. There are PPAs available.
PPAs.
For a new app called Time Shift. Did you see this?
Oh yes, I did, and
If
I've not tried it yet.
Yeah,
though.
well, you know,
it looks, because when I first read it, I was like, oh god, could it finally be like what I've been wanting?
Right,
because
because we've seen like Back in Time, we've seen Time Vault. Of course, everybody's
Yeah.
familiar with OS 10's Time Machine.
and that's just, I'm sorry, but that's got Buck Rogers happening. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and some people have had horrible experiences with some of these things.
Yeah.
So Time Shift, the idea is it takes a little bit different track. It is taking snapshots of your system files, not of the user data. And it does so without requiring ButterFS. So if you're still running ext4 or ext3 or XFS or JFS or whatever, you can use this tool this still takes snapshots. It's just traditional, good old classic snapshots.
It's like an rsync kind of thing? Or?
I don't know actually what it uses on the back
I'm
end.
guessing. I mean, that's everything I've ever used always did. And that's good. That's a good thing if it does.
Here it is right here, Matt. You see, here it is right here. This here right here on my Mint box is Time Shift, and this is version 1.31.
Yep.
And you can see right here, last night I did a snapshot. Now, I did manual snapshots, but there are options to do monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, and at boot.
Oh, that's tidy. You don't have to create your own. You can just go with what you want.
And you
Schedules.
just turn it on, turn it off.
Yeah.
You can also have it automatically clean up, and it comes with a set of pretty reasonable default rules. Say, monthly snapshots rolled in 2 months, clean those up. Right.
I'm liking that.
That way you don't have
right,
disk
because
creep.
that's what happened to me with some of the previous solutions.
And on an SSD, that can really kill you. And you can also then set system-wide exclusions, right? So here is my snapshot from last night. And I did this before I installed a bunch of games and malarkey like that.
Yeah.
And what's cool is I could just be straight up, I want to restore, right? And here's my different devices I can back up to. Or I can go in and I can browse the snapshot. And look at this. It actually opens up Nemo. And I am now browsing the snapshot itself. And so I could actually go in here and restore an individual file if I wanted to from the snapshot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
that's really cool.
It gives you just a straight up, and it just puts it in /mount/time shift.
Well, and I love the fact that when you're browsing through, I mean, the fact that you have that level of control, and it looks like it's actually using less nonsense than some of the other GUI front-ends do.
Right. You don't need the traveling through space crap.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really nice about this is because it's storing it in /mount/time shift, you could just go in there with the terminal.
That's cool.
Right.
So that way, should there be,
you need to
heaven
get down
forbid,
dirty.
some horrible thing happens to the app, you could still get it done.
Now you can see though, the downside is it does take some serious storage. So you might want to set your time shift volume to be a separate drive if you can. Like
I would recommend
like
it.
the Bonobes here, I got 2 drives, right? So I should be time shifting to a separate drive.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of having a backup, I would think, is to,
Hold on.
I'm not the smartest monkey here, but, but I'm going to save it to the drive that could potentially fail. Probably not going to happen, It's like a little wildcat on here.
I mean, I don't know if do you really want to use this as your only backup?
No. I have at minimum at all times 3 crazy off-the-wall tinfoil hat style stuff.
Remember a couple of weeks ago, I was demoing that S3 fuse mount, right? You could toss it onto you could mount S3. That might cost you.
That might be a little funky. I don't know. I mean, it's like I would probably at the very minimum do multiple external drives, and then
here's what I was thinking.
Like travel.
I was thinking because a lot of people now are on laptops, and it's not always feasible to have like an external drive or a network connection that's fast enough to back up to a different device.
Right.
You could take this and have it back up to /mount/time shift. Now I'm going to get crazy here. I don't know if this would work because I haven't tried it. But then you could take BitTorrent Sync and point that at that and have it replicate to another box.
That could work.
And that might solve your problem.
Kind of
I don't know.
Poor man's crash plan.
I am so a fan of BitTorrent Sync these days that everything I think of how could BitTorrent Sync take care of it.
Right.
So, anyways, I don't know what all distros have this. It's pretty straightforward. I bet it's coming to everybody pretty soon. It's a GTK interface.
They got a AUR.
I didn't even look because I'm just on the Mint.
Oh, right. So you don't care, but I bet they do. I'm sure they do.
This would be the first that didn't.
Right. I mean, this would be setting a bad precedent. I'm sure it does.
Right. Yeah.
Sure it does.
So that is Time Shift, and there's a great write-up over at unixmin.com, and I'll have a link to that in the show notes.
I'm definitely going to be checking that out because, I mean, for me, it's like the thing I'm fanatical about. It's all about my user data. So it's my user data. I'm like, I got that back 6 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
But my system would be nice to just be able to restore it without all the user data crap.
Update goes crazy.
Yeah, I don't want my user data bundled with my...
Mac got a little sleep deprived, decided to install KDE, and now he has 3 terminals on his system. He just wants to go back to XFCE, right?
And I'm just like, I'm having terminal problems.
Right. Oh. Yikes.
Yikes. Oh, that was not what I meant. You know what I mean, though. You get where I'm going with this thing.
He's got terminal problems. He's got 99 problems, and a terminal's one of them.
That's true.
All right, Matt, let's do the news.
Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by...
Ting.com, Matt. Ting is mobile that makes sense. My mobile service provider. Ting has no contracts, no early termination fees, and you can get started by going to last.ting.com to save $25 off your first device or $25 off a month of service if you have a device you want to bring. So, bam! Matt's got the Note 2 right there. HTC One right here. You see that bad mamma jamma. And then,
Oh,
Nexus
dude, you got
5.
It came.
Check it out. I just want you, just use it for a minute. I don't think you've ever experienced Android like that. It's so smooth.
God.
Look at that.
Oh, my God.
It feels good, too, right?
Right?
Oh. Now, I'll tell you though,
crazy.
between the two of them, the HTC One has way better speakers.
Oh, does it? Yeah.
I love the screen though.
Yeah, no, there's no
and
there's
the
no
weight is good.
question.
Yeah. So this is the Nexus 5 running on the Ting network, and
Wow.
yeah, it's fast, isn't it? Isn't
That
it
is
crazy fast?
crazy fast.
It's the fastest Android device I've ever used. That's for sure. I mean,
off the chain.
if I was gonna, I don't know. Like if I was still choosing, I might still go HTC One because this is also really great. But I love you can see the profile.
And it's so light,
Yeah.
but it doesn't feel janky. It's not
Right.
janky, but it's still light.
Right. So there it is. You can see there's the two head to head.
Mm-hmm.
The Nexus 5. You know, people have been dogging on the camera in the reviews. I think the camera's
No,
great.
the camera's really good.
Yeah.
I did a selfie, which is always kind of frightening, but I was like,
The
oh my
selfie's
god,
even good, right?
Yeah.
And check this out. Barometer. It has a freaking barometer. Look at that.
Oh, dude, in your phone. I feel wow.
It's about to rain
Wow.
out here, actually, man.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus
Imagine
Christ.
that.
Oh, boy, look at the pressure. No wonder.
Yeah, are you guys prepped for the upcoming storm?
There's a storm coming.
Yeah, Monday.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of a sleety type situation. But
Ooh,
yeah,
I look forward to it. So, and a little tip, if you guys are going to pick up the Nexus 5 for Ting, when you order your Nexus 5 from the Google Play Store, go over to the Ting store and order your Nexus 5 SIM, because you got to get a Nexus 5 SIM for this bad mamma jamma. So, why might you want to switch to Ting? Well, sure, they have some of the greatest Android devices out there right now, but Ting also has a lot of other compelling features. Let's start with their awesome customer service. I want to tell you about a few of the things I love about Ting as a long-term customer. I've been using them for the whole year now, and that customer service, 1-855-TING-FTW. You know, we had to call them one of these days.
Oh, right.
It is unbelievable. If you of course, you got to call them between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern.
Certainly,
Probably during
yeah.
the work hours. I don't know if they're on a Sunday, Matt, but
that would be hardcore.
you know, if you called them right now, we could talk about the Nexus 5.
But even if you're not calling them on the weekend, you still got their fantastic help resources. Because I mean, anything you're looking
Yes.
to do, I've always found an answer to like that.
Check
no
this
problem.
out. That's a great point.
Ridiculous.
So I go over to help.ting.com and I just type in Nexus 5 here and Powsies. Do a
Boom.
search for Nexus 5. Bring your Nexus 5 to Ting, complete your Nexus 5 activation, or if you end up needing this, the other thing that's great about completing your Nexus 5 activation, if you end up having to do a factory reset on your Nexus 5, here's just all the little commands you need to do: get a profile update and a PRL update.
How cool is that to not have to call up your other carriers?
Dude,
to do
I'm
that? 'Cause
totally-
remember the other carriers you have to. Oh god, I got to call them, right?
And they might not even know what I'm asking.
Right. Oh, they don't. See,
No.
Ting people actually know what
Yeah.
you're asking.
Yeah.
They understand the questions and are not having to read it from some script. They actually get it.
So not only does Ting have some great devices and some crazy good sales right now, if you go to last.ting.com and get our discount applied, you can get a grand total of 102 bones taken off the HTC One, $409 unlocked. It's yours. You own it straight up. This is your phone, your computing device. It's not on some sort of payment plan where you get a fee when you cancel. And let me tell you, now that I've had both the Nexus 5 and the HTC One, I think I might recommend the HTC One.
You
If
think?
overall, I think
Really?
the screen might be slightly nicer.
You got the speaker advantage.
And this
yeah.
performance is better over here, but the complete package. I'll tell you something else I love about the HTC One has a built-in remote control.
Oh, okay. See now I see where this is going. It's got
a universal
the
remote.
speakers.
Yeah.
It's got the universal remote.
So check this out. So if I go right here,
Uh-huh.
if I on my little scroller right here, if I do this, this is the remote control for my entertainment system, for my TV, all of that stuff. It also gets all your current TV lineups for your local area.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, and it uses the power button.
And this isn't
as
an
the
app.
IR
This
button.
is like built into the phone.
Comes with the phone, yeah. So there's look at that.
dude.
That's the remote control. So right here is the remote
Dude.
control for my. So I mean, the HTC One's nice, and right now they got $102 off the HTC One, and you just own it outright. It is a fantastic, amazing phone. You can also go get the Nexus 5. They've got other great phones. Here's the other thing. You only pay for what you use with Ting. So they take your messages, your megabytes, and your minutes, and they add them all up at the end of the month. Whatever bucket you fall into, that's what they charge you. It's so easy. And you can have multiple devices on one account, all sharing from a set of pooled minutes.
That's right.
$6 per line per month. You just pay for what you use on top of that. It's so easy. And then their dashboard makes turning on, turning off services, devices, setting up alerts, call forwarding, voicemail. So great, so powerful, and so simple.
I love the fact that during the holidays, I tend to ramp up on the voice and kind of ramp down on some of the other ones because I got to call family.
Oh, yeah.
And it adjusts with me without me having to go and change plans or fool with any other.
Yep.
It just works.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's cheap.
Ting is great. They've got a great active blog, too, where you can find out what Ting's up to. They're a great company, very transparent. There's so many great things about Ting, so just go find out more for yourself by going to last.ting.com and then click that how much would you save calculator and put your info in there and just see what happens. Just see what you get. And then don't forget, Ting also offers an early termination relief program where they can take up to $75 per line off of your ETF fee. You go over there, you get your phone, you activate your device, port your number, and then submit your ETF claim, and Ting will
So
get you taken care of.
they're willing to pay to help you get out of your pre-existing plan with a carrier you probably don't want to be with anyway.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Saying.
So thanks very much to Ting for sponsoring the Linux Action Show.
Good stuff.
Okay, Matt. So I want to start while we're on the mobile topic with the Jolla phone release. And I have a big confession I got to make up front. I'm not totally feeling it with this. And I know people in our audience, this is hearsay because they're really excited about Jolla phones.
Yeah, I get they are. I guess for myself, and this is someone, again, that's not really super hip to what the big attraction is. And answer my question here, guys, am I going to get the apps that I'm enjoying on Android? Because if I'm not, then I don't care.
There might be an Android. I mean,
maybe they will. I don't know.
Android emulators and things like that can solve that. But so this is a little history here. Jolla phone is powered by Linux, of course.
That's good. I like that.
Sailfish is based on MeeGo, so we got some good legacy there. This particular phone that's just shipped, 4.5-inch IPS display, 960 by 540, Qualcomm 1.4, 1.4 dual core processor. 16 gigs of storage. Sure. 8-megapixel camera. A Sailfish OS is very gesture-based, which has been kind of mixed on some of the reviews that I've read. Uses Qt, QML, and HTML5 for the app languages. And we've got a bunch of write-ups. Mucketware's got a good one. CNET did a really good one here with a video.
It looks nice. I mean, that's the one thing, again, as knowing nothing about it at all, I do find it very visually
very
appealing.
Attractive, yeah. That's what so the Verge basically said, it looks great. The people behind the project have incredible passion, but they're showstoppers. Like apps crashed on them, the OS locked up on them.
So maybe it's very early and it's one to watch, perhaps.
Yeah, and we've all seen this, and a lot of us are totally comfortable with being early adopters. Yeah, and I think, this isn't a U.S. market item. Right?
Okay. Are you putting this more in the... Because for me, I feel like almost that, the Firefox efforts almost fill this need already, and I'm not really sure where these guys fit in, because Firefox really did a nice job, too.
Yeah, like the chat room is saying is, where do we see this? Where does this fit in quite exactly? I'm not sure.
Especially if Firefox is offering a more stable experience as well. I think that's where it gets to be kind of interesting.
Now, of course, love seeing multiple choice. Love seeing options,
it drives other guys to do better. Sure.
Right. So all of that is good. I'm not poo-pooing it at all. I'm just saying it's probably not for me, and I think that's part of why my excitement level is a little muted.
I would be more excited, I think, as it develops and matures. I think it's one to watch, and I think probably most importantly is it's going to cause other platforms to keep doing better. That's awesome.
Here's where I could see it working, and it is like this great new gadget utopia where devices are like PCs, and they you can get them without an OS, and you could choose from Jolla, Firefox OS, Android, Ubuntu Touch, Plasma Active.
That'd be cool. Yeah, you go to order it, you got like the little pull-down menu or little radio buttons. Beep, 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 what you want, sure.
Nobody'd ever support that.
Carriers,
never going to happen with carriers, but that's my fantasy. And then I could, I love that idea. But
then we woke up, unfortunately. Yeah, so that's too bad.
Real quick, I want to talk about some technology that I just absolutely love. I mean, we talked a bunch about it in this week's Linux Unplugged. We brought the CTO and founder of Docker on Linux Unplugged this week, and he talked about the new release, Docker 0.7, which came out the day that we recorded Linux Unplugged, so it was great to get him on there. So if you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. Docker 0.7. Now, what is Docker? If you're familiar with FreeBSD jails or Solaris zones, it is using Linux containers and C groups and a lot of the new technology we've been talking about on the show to deliver a completely isolated, metal performance, secure environment that can be predictable, stable, and reproducible for Linux. And they combine these environments with like a Git-like system where you can create, we demoed Docker on the show a while ago.
Cool.
I set up on my Archbox a isolated Ubuntu environment. There was Ubuntu 12.04 inside my Archbox. I could set up everything in that Ubuntu installation. Then I could publish it up to the Docker service and then go log into like a DigitalOcean VPS or something like that and pull down that Docker instance. So you can push and pull.
And how would you compare it, for people that don't understand, how would you compare it to virtual machines and things of that sort?
Well, the big advantage to virtual machines is there's no emulation of hardware. You're running on the metal. It's using facilities in the kernel. So like when I was running that Ubuntu 12.04 container on my Archbox, it was actually using the Arch kernel underneath.
So your performance is going to be drastically better.
It's just exactly what you perform. It's just really native code, right?
That's great.
So one of the big features in 0.7 is Docker now runs on every distribution out there. Every distribution that pretty much, except for I guess Slackware, because they moved away from AUFS and now they're utilizing a plugin type architecture where you can use different types of file systems on the underside. So it's pretty awesome, which means the big thing here is Red Hat Enterprise support and Debian support.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's no longer more of like just an Ubuntu thing. And also, of course, with those is Fedora, SUSE, Gentoo, Arch, etc. I was mostly working on all those before. But huge release. This is one of the coolest technologies that is in the, I think, in sort of approaching the server side, and eventually once it's sort of established on the server side, I think we're going to see it take all kinds of new directions on the desktop side. On the server side, it allows for way higher density.
Right.
It's going to bring down the cost of hosted services, and it's going to make Linux even more wider adopted in the cloud.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it is really one of the biggest technologies out there, because right now people have been using KVM, Xen, VMware to accomplish what Docker is going to provide, a lot of hosting providers. Or even myself, where I'm thinking I might do like an Arch server and then do a Docker container that's Ubuntu running Zimbra. Right, and so that stays nice and static and slow, and then the underlying Arch system gets all the new features, but my Docker container is undisturbed.
And everything's all nice and protected, nice and tidy.
So huge congrats to the Docker guys. That's a major milestone.
Huge.
Yeah. All right, another big milestone. So we've talked about the Vivaldi tablet over time. You know, the Make Play Live guys have been teasing something for a little bit, and it's here now. We have the announcement of the Improv. Yeah! Now, so picture the Raspberry Pi souped up.
We're talking like, it's kind of like giving your, your garbage disposal a gas engine.
Yeah, big time. So one of the cool things about this is the architecture where it's got this detachable board. So you got a CPU card that powers the device, while the feature card, quote unquote, provides convenient access to onboard capabilities of the CPU through a variety of different ports and pins. So you can have a base board, and then you snap on something that's sort of application specific. Now, this is definitely a pivot from where they were with the tablet, but I think it's absolutely brilliant, genius. It's exactly what they should be doing. First of all, it's a good place to start. It ships with the not Mir, Linux OS, which is the Mir operating system. They chose Mir because it's designed specifically for device development, has a thriving community, and it's also, this board's Android compatible.
Oh.
Yep, so that's good for manufacturers.
That's cool. Yeah.
And the idea here is, it's a more powerful version of what you can get done with the Raspberry Pi. And
nice.
More
power is good.
What a great way for these guys to start. Like, because we weren't sure where they're going to go with the tablet, so they've kind of refocused here. It's a 1 gigahertz dual core A7 ARM processor. It's got a gigabyte of memory. That's huge. Yeah, it's got a micro SD card reader. It's got a 100 megabit Ethernet port. You've also got HDMI, micro HDMI out. It's got USB 2 on it. All kinds of nice features. I am so excited about this, because I definitely am missing the boat on these mobile, these little embedded devices. Like right here, we have Q5sys's Raspberry Pi.
And we always feel like there's just like not quite enough resources to put it into production.
Yeah, and like I could, Q5sys just, we have a link in the show notes, just made a version of Puppy Linux that you put on the Raspberry Pi, and it provides you a network random number generator. So all your boxes can ping the Pi and all have, good, solid random numbers. That's a really cool use for something like this.
That's very cool.
But that's about, maybe an RSS reader, maybe a Tor box.
But you're probably not going to be running Plex or XBMC or something.
This is the beginning of taking a powerful CPU and being able to snap on functionality cards to it. Oops, hi there. And this is getting used in schools. It is at $25. It is accessible to kids, that just want to tinker. There is a Kickstarter right now for the Raspberry Pi that's like a complete PC kit with a keyboard and video hookups and all that kind of stuff. And they had like a funding goal.
It makes computing really accessible.
Yeah, dude, that Kickstarter is like at $800,000 out of $100,000 they wanted. I mean, there's so much enthusiasm around these kinds of devices. So it makes so much sense for the Make Play Live guys to do this, and they can learn a ton from this. Maybe this is the direction they stick with, or maybe they take this and then move into tablets down the road.
They could. I love the fact that they didn't take the tablet route, just because I feel like this is a harder road, and it provides more opportunity for them to take this to the next level and not just automatically say, well, tablets are where it's at. I love the fact that they're not dismissing this opportunity completely. That's cool.
Very cool. So congrats. And maybe in a couple weeks we'll get Aaron on and talk about it a little bit.
That'd be cool.
See what's up.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Last week we talked about a worm. And now we got another worm. I guess, is this a sign?
I don't think that's the same worm.
No, it's not. No, do you think it's a sign that maybe Linux...
A sign. Same sign. No, I'm going to say that... Well, actually, no, I take that back. Yes, I think it's basically an indicator. I wouldn't go so far as to say a sign. I think it's an indicator that we need to really start educating casual folks on security. Because as it stands now, a newbie coming to Linux is quite honestly under the impression of, I'm immune from everything. Even phishing attacks can't get me. And they're really not getting it.
This new worm that's going around it's not going to surprise anybody when I tell you what it's targeting. It is targeting Linux boxes that are on like embedded appliances that are running old versions of Linux that don't get updated, like like Netgear routers that run Linux that then
it's a great low hanging fruit. I can see that as being an excellent opportunity.
Because Netgear doesn't issue an update a year after the model's been made, and so it's just sitting there with like Linux kernel 2.4 and whatever.
Come and get me.
Yeah. So
and they're exposed. They're exposed to the
Of course, we have to label, just like we have labels for everything now. The Internet of Things devices are being targeted. So here we go. Researchers have discovered a Linux worm capable of infecting a wide range of home routers, set-top boxes, security cameras, and other consumer devices that are increasingly equipped with an internet connection. Now they're calling it Linux.darlols.
Wow.
The worm that's what it's been dubbed, is now classified as a low-level threat, partially because its current version targets only devices made with Intel CPUs.
Okay, well that definitely isolates that a little bit. Yeah.
Now this is according to a Symantec researcher. So put a little grain of salt in there because of course Symantec has been foaming at the mouth for Linux to have virus issues.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean that's what always kills me is when security companies say, "Oh, this thing's not secure." It's like let's look at their revenue stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, Symantec's been like, oh, God, please, can there be viruses for Android and Linux? Please, we want to make some money.
They're pretty excited about it.
Yeah. So here's what it does. Upon execution, the worm generates an IP address randomly. It accesses a specific path on the machine with well-known ID and passwords, and then sends HTTP post requests, which exploit a vulnerability. If the target is unpatched, it downloads the worm from a malicious server and starts searching for its next target. Currently, the worm seems to infect only x86 systems because the downloaded URL in the exploit code is hard-coded to the ELF binary for Intel architectures. The researcher went on to say the attack behind the Intel version hosting ELF files, and they could post other files and then go after other chip architectures.
Well, and
not too surprising.
There's been a lot of talk on this. First of all, they always say, well, if it's not a certain architecture, it's not a threat. And other people will say, well, this only targets this one thing. My philosophy, and I will die saying this, at the end of the day, if it executes code, it has the potential to be a threat. And that's just the underlying thing.
Yep.
No OS is 100% secure. It isn't.
Unfortunately true. Now, it's not a big real-world threat now, but it demonstrates a major shortcoming. This is actually why I wanted to highlight the story, because I agree with this sentiment. Yep. It demonstrates a major shortcoming with most Internet of Things devices available today. They typically run Linux or other types of open-source code that is woefully out of date. Making matters worse, many internet-connected consumer devices can't be updated because their lightweight hardware can't handle the requirements of newer code versions.
That makes sense that they would target this, because I think as low-hanging fruit goes, this is a really great opportunity. It's something people don't think about. I mean, 99% of the people in my neighborhood, for example, undoubtedly have the default firmware.
Most people don't. They also explained that it is taking advantage of a PHP vulnerability that was patched 18 months ago. So devices that use the older versions of PHP to have a web-based UI to admin it, you could make some config changes to avoid the attack, but these boxes are kind of locked down.
This is true. You're kind of limited. Kind of limited.
All right, Matt. So the last news item this week is some of you in the community who've been following the subreddits knew that Jupiter Broadcasting had a pretty bad week, despite the holidays.
Really bad.
And I'm also sick. So we had our Amazon affiliate account shut down, suspended indefinitely after a review. We first got on their radar, I would assume, with our extension, and then we made some changes. You might recall we had to update the extension, and it was automatically disabled, and we had everybody re-enable it. That was to comply. However, we showed up on their radar about 2 to 3 months ago when we did that.
Probably with all those new activations and resetting.
This is a good warning to any of you. So Amazon reviewed our account, and what we found is what we were primarily in violation with is when you go over to Jupiter Broadcasting, I don't even know if we still have it up.
I think
we're going to be removing it.
But yeah.
We had support Jupiter Broadcasting. Yeah, so we at the bottom of our website, we have support Jupiter Broadcasting while shopping at, and we had Amazon on there. That is a violation of the Amazon term of service.
Okay.
You can only have products. So
well, what about Amazon UK? Same rules? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, same rules.
That code just hasn't been shut down.
Okay, gotcha.
So here's the faux show, right? And you can see here we have Amazon products embedded.
Yeah.
That's legit. You can do that. They're okay with that. What you can't do is say support us by shopping at Amazon. And we actually were told, straight up on the phone by a representative of Amazon, the Associates program is not a fundraiser. It is a mutual beneficial marketing agreement between you and Amazon. And
yet they offer stores.
Here's really where we took a blow, is they've elected not to pay Jupiter Broadcasting for the last 3 months of Amazon affiliate revenue.
During a peak period when that's probably a lot of the year's stuff coming from Amazon.
Financially, the way Jupiter Broadcasting works is a lot of our monthly run cost is covered by our affiliates. Because organically, the way it has worked, as more viewers have come on board, and right now our CDN is around 15 terabytes of data every month is distributed. And the CDN isn't our primary running cost, but it's one of them.
Oh,
because
yeah, it's
Scale
up
Engine
there.
gives us an amazing deal. Alan
Sure.
is awesome. But as our CDN growth has increased, generally our affiliate usage has matched it, so that it almost organically covers its cost. It's been incredible.
It was almost, you could say, community supported. Really.
Yeah, I mean, literally, the people that
Yeah.
were using our extensions and our links
Right.
were financing the running cost to actually deliver the content to them. To have those last 3 months removed from Jupiter taken away from us, it was devastating. And to top it off now, of course, we're also not going to have our affiliate program in place during the rush of holiday shopping season, Black Friday, Christmas. And the unfortunate part about that is this November and really December were the 1 to 2 months a year where we made a profit on the affiliate system. And what we would do is we would take that profit and squirrel it away, put it in the kitty, so that way when we had an unexpected cost, which happens in business, we would pull from that stash from the November, December months to cover that. So not only did we lose out on the last 3 months of revenue, but we also now lost out on that kitty that we have, where we can kind of bank on a little coverage there for our nut if something goes wrong. Major bad news for us. We were in a really bad way. We got this news on Tuesday before Linux Unplugged. Kind of rocked my world because it is definitely one of those things where it has the possibility of kind of shutting us down.
Yeah, we honestly didn't know where we were going to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
Behind the scenes,
really
behind the
bad.
scenes, like, I don't know if she wants me to say this, but Angela didn't eat for a couple of days. She was so freaked out. Thankfully, kind of perfect timing, Bitcoin was at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So I sold off a few Bitcoins to cover our immediate cost.
Which was essentially just temporary spackle.
Yeah,
really.
so that kind of patches us together. So now where we're at now is we're going to work on setting up a store with items in it that totally follows the Amazon terms of service. We're still working with them to try to work that out, so stay tuned for information on that. The main thing this affects is we had amazing plans for 2014. So we were in the process of interviewing for an editor and production assistant and a back-end engineer. So that way, every show we do on Jupiter Broadcasting takes about 2 to 4 hours of post-production of my time.
Right.
So come out here in the morning, we do this show, and then I go back into my studio or my office for 2 to 4 hours, and I edit every single show. And we were going to hire an editor to take that away from me. So that just to get that off my shoulders. That way I could have a little more of a life.
Absolutely.
That's looking pretty questionable at this point.
Right.
We were also in early March going to move into a new studio. And that was really going to open up a million of new possibilities for us, a dedicated studio for Jupiter Broadcasting. But again, with a significant portion of our revenue missing, I have no idea where that's at this point. This is a major upset. So one of the things I want to do, just to kind of keep things going for a little bit, get us through the end of the year, is I'm going to take one of the things we had planned to do in 2014, and I want to announce it now. And it's a way you guys can help support the Jupiter Broadcasting Network and get yourself something, maybe something for the holidays too. So here it is for the very first time. I want to present to you the new Jupiter Broadcasting logo that we were going to unveil in early 2014. We're going early now. A limited time Jupiter Broadcasting 2014 T-shirt. The only place to get the new logo before it's anywhere else. We're doing a Teespring. We're going to try to get to 499 T-shirts sold in 10 days or something like that. In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Now I know
a huge goal.
It's a huge goal. Now I noticed we got long sleeves there. Are we looking at
Matt, it's the winter.
It's the winter, so we're going to go with some winter gear, which makes sense for the time being.
Yeah, it's the winter, and I figured, why not? So I'm going to put a link right now in the IRC chat room if you guys, and we'll have a link in the show notes if you'd like to help support the Jupiter Broadcasting Network, get yourself something. And the reason why we're only going for 2 weeks, even though we're trying to get to 500 in 2 weeks, is because if we get it lucky, you'll be able to get it in time for the holidays. So if you want to pick somebody else, if you want to get somebody a Jupiter Broadcasting shirt. Now, look, I'm not saying you turn your family into a walking marketing department for Jupiter Broadcasting.
You could.
But I'm saying new logo.
Yeah, right. and early adoption. This is limited edition stuff, guys. You are going to be the first among anybody.
So there you go, the new Jupiter Broadcasting T-shirt. So hopefully this will help get us through December. I don't know what January looks for the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. Hopefully I'm going to pull a rabbit out of my hat. That's what I'm hoping to do. I'm trying to line things up. I'm definitely going to be working a lot harder than I was, because the great thing about the affiliate revenue was that it was passive income. And anything I do now to replace that's going to require an S ton of more work, I'm going to do it. I can't imagine ever doing anything else. I have the best job in the world. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. But I'd love for you guys to go grab the new shirt, get yourself a little Jupiter Broadcasting swag. You'll see this new logo in our graphics in 2014. You'll see it on our website. I think we'll probably launch the new logo when the shirt ships. But the first place to get the new Jupiter Broadcasting logo, which we had commissioned, and I think looks really great.
It looks really good.
You
Well,
like that,
and
right?
here's the $10,000 question: if you guys actually go beyond the the goal of $499 there, can people still get them? You know, is there okay? So there's no shortage of them, but you got to understand
Let's
it's
sell
early
thousands.
adoption. It's an early adoption.
Sell
thing.
thousands.
So get on there and get one.
And we're not going to do another shirt like this.
Yeah. So this is a one-time shot, guys.
Just like we did with the TechSnap 100 shirt, we're going to run this for 2 weeks. You can get it. Hopefully, you'll get it in time for the holidays.
Yeah.
And help support the network. Get yourself something. And then we have some other ideas. I've got some really great ideas for membership incentives. So if you'd like
Nice.
to go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/support, you can sign up for a one-time or a monthly donation. I have some really fun ideas. Commonly requested feature for subscribers. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Matt.
yes.
You know
Yes,
what
I do.
A lot of people have been asking for that. That'll probably be very early 2014. So if you subscribe monthly to the Jupiter Broadcasting Network over at jupiterbroadcasting.com/support, in early 2014, we'll be rolling out more features to our subscribers to thank you. If you're an Unfiltered supporter, you have a little idea of what that tastes like, that sweet supporter nectar. We're going to try to roll something like that out to all of our shows on the network, and that'll be in the early 2014. So that's one way to also help us out if you don't want to grab a shirt or if you want to grab both.
Well, this is a good time, honestly, to get in early so that you are again amongst the first to experience this as we roll it out.
I feel like I keep learning these hard life lessons where I bet on these big companies and then they decide to arbitrarily enforce a rule and just shut us down.
Terms of service, or what I like to call floating terms of service, because that's the thing with a lot of the big companies is it starts out fine, and then they do this little thing, they shoot you off like this half-ass email, and then it's like, oh, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot of times what happens,
Well,
too.
and
So,
how many other podcast networks have support Amazon, support us by shopping at Amazon? Like, I don't know.
They probably found a way to skate it somehow with a lawyer or something, I'm sure.
No, it's just
Or
arbitrarily
they know someone at
enforced.
Amazon based on this
Maybe.
one. That's my theory.
I think it's just arbitrarily enforced. I really do. Like,
yeah, that could be it.
I don't know. I can think of a lot of podcast networks. I can think of a lot of tech
It's got to
blogs.
it's got to be a buddy or something, or maybe I don't know. Yeah, I agree with you though. I do.
See, like, look at that right there. Right. This is exactly in violation of the terms
And
of
is it
service.
even there? No, it's not. It's just a straight link.
No, it's
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's not like some weird JavaScript that they're offering. It's a straight link. That's a straight old fashioned.
I think what it is
Wow.
because we were so coordinated with using the extension and then also mentioning it in shows because I don't plug a lot of stuff.
So probably for them it's not on the radar because I doubt anyone's doing it.
Right. I mean, their
That's
primary
probably-
revenue generator is their sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to have an audience-supported network because I want to be held accountable to the audience.
Right.
And so that's why we did mention the affiliates as much as we did. And I feel like that just
might
moved
be.
us. And there's no coincidence that they're reviewing our account right before they issue payment and
no,
right
of course
before
not.
Black Friday.
Oh, absolutely. It means that
It was-
it's bonuses for the guys doing it, obviously, because
Yeah.
they get to keep that revenue.
The 3 months of revenue that they're not going to pay us for, which we're just left in the cold for, even though we've paid for all the things that we would usually use that money for. And then right before the holidays, there's just no coincidence about it. It's unfortunate, not all that unexpected, I suppose.
Incredibly douchey. It really is.
So please, guys, if you want to go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/support to just lock in some support, that'd be awesome. I'd really like it. I'd love for you to get a shirt too. You can go to teespring.com/Jupiter2014 or click the link in the show notes. That is teespring.com, TEEspring.com/Jupiter2014.
And don't fret if you don't have a pen handy or a text file open. We'll have that in the show notes, as Chris pointed out. So.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Matt, that's all the news for this week. It's time for our review of Linux Mint 16. But first, I want to tell you about our segment sponsor, System 76, creators, builders of machines designed to run Linux.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm running Mint 16 on a Bonobo Extreme right now. It has been flawless. Flawless. And also, if you're a System 76 customer and you have their Ultra Pro netbook, or not netbook, Ultrabook, look in your mail soon because there could be a keyboard coming your way. You can find out more information over at System 76. This is one of the things I love is they got customer feedback on this keyboard, and they said, you know what? We're going to replace the keyboard for people who bought this, and the new models have a new upgraded keyboard. And in fact, we have one on the way right now.
We do. And for those of you that have the pre-existing model, they actually sent out an email to everyone saying, hey, look, we don't like the keyboard it came with. We're going to fix that, send you a new keyboard, and tell you how to get it installed.
Yeah, totally awesome. And
stuff.
we're also hopefully going to get our hands on the Leopard Extreme.
Yeah,
here
I
pretty
believe
soon.
there's 3, count them, 3 units coming.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I know.
about-
It's like I've been watching the front door just like, come.
So, go over to System 76. Take a look at what they've got. They've got a great line of desktops, laptops. All of these run Linux so great.
Yes.
Both Matt and I. Matt, how long have you got a System 76 machine now?
Oh, my goodness. My first unit, which I will point out is a laptop, still running to this very day, is a 2008 laptop model.
Nice.
We're talking S-Video on the side, folks. Just to age that puppy. I mean, it had a modem. So, I mean, and it worked. All that stuff still works out of the box.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, yeah, that was my very first System 76, and then I've, got others since then. I'm a big fan. I would love a new laptop.
Go over to system76.com, get yourself something nice, and then tell them Linux Action Show sent you.
Would.
We'd appreciate it.
Good stuff.
So let's talk about Mint.
Oh, my goodness.
I think the desktop people probably, I'm just guessing, most excited about will be the Cinnamon desktop.
Yep.
I've been running it here for I ran the RC for a week, and now I've ran the final version here for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, Matt, we reviewed Cinnamon 2.0. Gosh, when was that?
Maybe a week?
29,
2 weeks ago.
29 episode 4, a little more than a few weeks ago.
Okay,
but,
I felt like 2 weeks ago.
we really dived into our deep dive on thoughts on Cinnamon itself in that episode of Linux Action Show. I will say this though, having used it for a little bit, the Mint implementation of Cinnamon is far nicer than what I was able to accomplish on my Archbox. And I don't really know why. I had Nemo. I had all the same applications. But everything is just a little nicer looking. The performance seems a little better to me for some reason. Maybe that's just me. And some of the defaults are
Maybe they
changed.
dialed it in somehow. Yeah.
Like when you go into system settings here, one of the complaints I had about Cinnamon was that it defaulted to this normal mode, which hid some of the icons. Now, in Mint, it defaults to advanced mode, shows you more stuff out of the box, which I thought was kind of a nice feature. So where should we start here with Cinnamon? What do you think?
I think the big differentiator for me are the Mint tools. That includes their software center. That includes their update manager.
Let's start actually with the software sources. Okay, because I think that is a great point. So when you're living the Ubuntu life, one of the things you'll always end up doing is getting some PPAs, right?
You have to, right?
Some people think it's actually one of the nice advantages of Ubuntu. And I'll tell you, I'll get into this in a little more detail here, but I had the wife kick the tires on Mint 16 Cinnamon Edition. And her first instinct was, when she wants software, she goes to the web.
Sure.
And she searches software, Mint, enter. And
makes sense.
More times than not, she ends up getting what she wants because she would find a PPA.
Right. And that helps a lot. I mean,
But,
it really does.
For a new user, when you tell them, go to the command line, paste in this PPA command, import this, and then accept this, and then update.
It feels a little weird to a new user. Yeah.
So what Mint has done here is in their software sources, they've taken the Ubuntu software sources, kicked it in the nuts, threw it on the curb, and then introduced the proper way to manage your PPAs. So here you can see I have a list of PPAs here, and I can add a new PPA. I just paste that line right into there. Then it prompts me to accept the GPG key, adds it, and then I can refresh. After I've added that, it'll have a little option here to refresh the package sources.
I really like the way they did the layout of this. I feel like it's easier to navigate. It's really clean.
Yeah, here's my Steam key, so I can get packages from Valve. I can do maintenance. I can do some fixes. I can sign up for additional repositories, and I have the official repos right here too.
Oh, and it's just a nice little pull down.
Yeah, I mean this is such a nice way to handle this, and you can see here like it'll go out into the
see, without even having to execute, it's already doing it for you, saying, "Hey, here's the stuff. Here's the mirrors you want to use."
Look at and you can very simple to use speed test. And then when you combine, so my Mint installation I think is pretty up to date. However, you've got a Mate installation over here, and you can see this updater, which recently did get some controversy on how they handle this. But you see the way Mint it rates things, right? It's got level 3, level 2 of the different patches. And Matt, if you dig around in the settings over there, check and edit. And
preferences.
Yep. And then if you see there, you can select what kind of packages you want. So unsafe packages could potentially affect the stability of your system are not checked by default. This is maybe a little controversial, but for a new user.
Well, and so here's the rationale. From what I understand, back in the day, there was a time, especially with early Mint coming from Ubuntu and all that sort of thing, to where number 3, the 4 and 5 packages especially were considered something that could potentially break your system. And still could potentially can. It's not as much of an issue now as it was. It really isn't. But it's nice to know that you're at least visually aware of what's going on. You're more in tune with, oh, hey, by the way, I'm updating my kernel versus updating some random piece of software.
As somebody who does daily Arch updates, has updated Linux systems for years, I still appreciate some kind of clear indication of where that's at.
Exactly.
So that's the Mate desktop there. Not to jump around too much, but fire up that menu too down there in the. Yeah, there you go.
Menu.
Yeah. Still, I know I've said this before in previous reviews.
Gorgeous.
That's just so great. That's so great. And if you type in Chrome or just just start to type it in there. Let me keep going a little bit.
Okay.
You see how you start to get options like install package from
this I'm missing from Cinnamon.
Yeah.
I loved this feature
Right.
in the old GNOME
Yep.
2 days, and they took it away, and it really bothered me.
This is what I was going to say. Yeah, it's like, why isn't that in Cinnamon? That's so great, and it's so
yeah.
powerful. And anyways, so back to this. I think both the Mate edition and the Cinnamon edition of Mint are definitely propped up by the just rock solid version of 13.10.
This is true.
13.10, there's just not a lot of surprises in Ubuntu 13.10. And that's what Mint 16 is based on. So when you start with such a rock solid base, it gives room for the Mint project to sort of focus on other stuff, other aspects of the release. And this
Such
really,
as extensions and things like that. I mean,
this
that's
really feels like a super polished version of Mint. This feels like maybe one of the best versions of Mint we've seen in a while.
felt very rock solid to me. Definitely an improvement over previous experiences I've had. I've actually left it installed on an old laptop because it's like, oh, this is actually working out pretty well.
I did the Steam test. Everything passed with flying colors. So that was
Good
was no
stuff.
problem. Also, I noticed during the installation, just kind of maybe a little indication of Mint's approach. There's not even an option to do Btrfs as your file system.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. And it's, that really kind of targets, it really allows them to target who they're trying to target because people that want it probably won't be using Mint anyway.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Oh yeah, Mate, whatever.
Whatever.
I almost don't want to use it just because of the damn pronunciation. I'd say Mint refinement comes from controlled areas of change. Once they get something the way they like it, they just kind of iterate on top of that. They don't
do.
throw it out and redo it. So there's not giant leaps of change. I mean,
There
it ships,
aren't. Although user management felt like it definitely took a
Yes.
switch. If you go into the user management, actually down by your clock.
Oh yeah,
the
that's right.
little-
You can get down to it by there. Yeah, check this out. So you can go down here and then what do I click on my name, right?
Yeah.
I think you just click on that and it brings that up. And it turns on my webcam real quick. This is an area that's had a lot of sort of disappointing changes in GNOME. And they are really kind of I don't know if they've forked it and made it their own or what they've done, but it is a great user management front end for managing your users on your box.
right.
And you can change what kind of account types they have. You can set passwords. What groups they're in is super easy.
Yes, it is. It's fantastic. And also the alerts. When an alert comes up, and a lot of times, and under Ubuntu, it'll disappear when it's darn good and ready.
Yeah.
With Mint, you actually have the option to say, no, I'm done.
Yeah. I think
stuff.
that's definitely the areas where they've decided to focus in on have seen significant improvements. I'd say Cinnamon definitely feels like a modern desktop.
Yes.
Still kind of faces the possibility of over mixing a modern UI with a classic UI metaphor. And I found that after about 2 weeks of using Cinnamon, I'm kind of longing for KDE again, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is, because it does kind of draw you back, right?
Yeah, and you'd think maybe Cinnamon would be that perfect spot between GNOME and KDE.
I think it has the potential to be. I think it's still finding its own, but I don't want it to be overdone. I don't want it to try and be KDE.
Yeah.
Let KDE be KDE.
This is definitely a great release of Cinnamon. I've had a couple of bumps in the road, like Nemo has crashed on me a couple of times.
Has it? Okay.
And I've had a couple of widgets or extensions crash Cinnamon. It's never been like unrecoverable. Like Cinnamon usually bounces back.
Sure.
Now Mate, or Mate, whatever. I'm just going to call it Mate. Just give us the benefit of the doubt. I feel like it accepts you for who you are. Like, I feel like
I would honestly keep it just simply because of the way the menu works. Honestly, I mean that's for me was such a thing.
Fire up the home folder there and go about on that file manager because they're using a different file manager on the Mate desktop there. Yeah, help about Kaja. I don't even know how you say that.
Kaja.
Yeah, that's their file manager.
Wow.
So Mate now feels like it's beyond GNOME 2. It's not a GNOME 2 clone anymore. It's inspired by GNOME 2, but it is now fully featured and beyond its own beast. And it does definitely take the best from that era, which we tend to remember with rose-colored glasses, and move it forward. And when I'm using Mate, I look at it, and I just shared the story recently on Linux Unplugged about a coworker that I worked with at the school district 10 years ago. And I came back 10 years later to do some contract work.
Right.
And when I went into his office, he was still using the same computer from 10 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Running Debian stable with
Wow.
XFCE.
Wow.
And I thought, this.
Whoa.
And you know what he needs? He needs 3 programs. He needs Firefox, Thunderbird, and the terminal. Wow. And I thought,
That's cool.
Okay, this is a perfect XFCE use. It's pure, it's simple, it's clean. Mate has a lot of that going for it, but a little more advanced. It's got a more full-featured file manager. Thunder is great, but it's got a little bit more featured file manager. It has more applet support.
Sure.
It has a fantastic menu. So if I was going to put on my curmudgeon hat, if I was going to take off the Linux Action Show host hat and I was going to put on the curmudgeon hat and say, you know what? This desktop paradigm has worked so great for me for so many years. I'm just going to stay with this. I feel like I could wrap up in the Mate blanket or whatever and live there for 10 years and let the rest of the world sort out all the touch interface crap and all that stuff and then just have my rock. And I feel like this is it. However, that's not a practical thing for me. That is not who I am.
No,
anymore.
you're kind of an adopter guy.
Yeah.
You kind of need that bleeding edge.
Well, and you are an XFCE guy.
I am.
Still,
Although Cinnamon's been, it depends on the machine. It really depends.
It didn't even seem like Mate piqued your interest.
The only thing about Mate that I'm really, really in love with is just the way the package management is handled. The fact that I can go up in here and say, oh, yeah, I want to install that. I think especially for newer users and whatnot, I think that's so cool.
Good resources. So speaking of newer users, I threw the wife at the Cinnamon edition, and you know what? So once I said, all right, stop searching the web for your software and open up the software manager, and I kind of equated it to the Mac App Store.
Yeah.
Her big feedback, and I got to agree. So I feel like Mint is great for new users. I think this version of Mint is so good that it allows for Canonical to just totally focus on their own thing. And the Mint project will continue to make a fantastic desktop based on the work that the Canonical company is doing for their goals.
Sure.
It gives them time to screw around on the desktop.
That's exactly it.
And Mint focuses on the desktop. Okay, so I think for new users, Mint could be a great option.
Oh, this is what I would install for someone that's not really a hardcore Linux person or just wants it to work in a stable environment. This is where I'm going to aim them at. It really is. That's where I'm going to put them.
I think one of the best features is the Ubuntu compatibility. So you have those PPAs, you have that software. That's why I'm not a huge fan.
And it's easy to add. Super simple.
I'm not a huge fan of the Debian edition because I think one of the biggest features of Mint is that Ubuntu compatibility.
True.
But when I had her work in the software manager, to her, this was not a good experience.
Well, it's pretty. I mean, for myself, it's butt ugly. It's not something I find to be highly attractive. Now, it's light on resources, and that's awesome because you can simply search out your package, get it installed. It's super easy to do.
It's very minimal.
Yeah, and it's fast, but it's not built for sexy. But it's pretty meh.
She came in here and said, "All right, I want some photo management programs." Right?
So you think, okay, photography.
And she's looking at this and she's like, none of these descriptions, like so many things say lightweight, gooey, and all this kind of stuff. She was rolling her eyes. Yeah. And to her, it's just,
she should be able to click photography and it says, I can do this with a photo. I can do that with a photo.
Her recommendation was, can we just have a noob section that I just click on and it's like all pretty?
Exactly. Yep, I agree.
Kind of like the Linux Deepin.
Yeah, honestly. Well, actually, it's installable. There's a PPA for that.
It is. Yeah,
and you almost have to make it usable.
Her overall experience and her walkaway impression was, I could definitely use this, but you would have to totally set it up for me. You would have to give me something completely set up. Here, honey, just click these icons, and then I would be able to run it from then on out.
Sure.
Here's where Mint falls down. And this is what the internet always bangs on Mint for.
Right.
There's no upgrades between releases. And this is why I would not give Mint 16 to my wife, because I don't want to be there in 13 months or 16 months or whatever it needs to be. I don't want to be there reloading her desktop again and resetting up all of her stuff, right? That's just not an option.
Because even with a dedicated home, you still got to back up your packages or reinstall them from scratch if you do a clean installation, which I'm a big fan of clean installations for non-rolling, but
I am too.
Packaging and stuff, it's still hassle. You got to deal with it.
I feel like if you can't handle a reinstall, then you're doing it wrong. Right. However, that's not a fair expectation for your average user.
No.
And when there's distributions out there that are long-term support, including versions of Mint and OpenSUSE 13.1, you really got to look at that and say, is what Mint is offering me worth this sort of, eventual outcome where I know I've got to wipe and reload? For somebody who wants just a really great top-of-the-line Ubuntu experience and is comfortable, I unequivocally, I say yes.
Well, I guess what they're going to need to have happen at some point, and this is the way I would do it if I was Mint, is you drop in the new CD of the new ISO that you just burned, and it says, oh, hey, you got Mint installed. And they do recognize that as already, but to go a step further and say, hey, would you like us to just we're just going to leave that home directory alone. We're going to make note of the packages you have installed, and we're going to go ahead and run that script, which, by the way, can be done very easily if they wanted to, back up those applications, and then we're going to give you that clean installation you're looking for. And what happens is when that works, they then reboot, and everything's brand spanking new. Everything's exactly as they left it, including the apps, which, again, is very doable. They can do this. It's not rocket surgery. Why not? So I guess for me, it's like maybe they're fearful of introducing new bugs.
I almost feel like it's coming down to a philosophy thing. Like, I think they look at it and say,
it's a mistake, though, for what they're trying to target. I think it's a mistake.
I agree. It is a mismatch with the target audience, in my opinion, but maybe they just feel like they can't avoid it.
But maybe there's some bugs or something I'm not considering, and I'll give them benefit of the doubt on that. But,
so you got your terminal. Real quickly, we've talked about some of these features before. I really recommend you go watch our full Cinnamon review to find out all of the great features of Cinnamon.
Extensions and whatnot.
Extensions are great, and they do this where you can go grab the latest extensions online, automatically pull them down to your rig, and load them. You know, this is a little bit of a tacky one I tend to think, but quote of the day. It's so big, right? But there you go. Now, it's funny because the wife loved this little sticky notes. In fact, she's like, can you get me something like this for my Mac?
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah, she loves having the sticky notes on the desktop for her. For me, I like having performance monitoring and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. All this like data porn.
Yeah. And then down here, I've added, system monitor and
which is a must
that.
for me. I want to know what my machine's doing.
And again, an awesome volume applet that lets you choose your output device. It'll also integrate in the player artwork and all that kind of stuff. Lots of really nice features in Cinnamon 2.0. You should go watch our whole review on that. But let's give it one Steam challenge.
Okay, Steam challenge.
We'll go in here to Gravity Badges, which we were just playing during the pick segment. And let me show you. This was the number one requested thing that people asked me on Twitter and Google+. Chris, once you're playing a game under Cinnamon, can you Alt-Tab out of that game? And ladies and gentlemen, here I am showing you that, yes, in fact, you can Alt-Tab out of your games.
That's cool.
Yep, and you can even
that's cool.
You can even then get in here and monitor, change your sound settings and all that.
See,
kind
and
of
that
stuff.
right there is especially if you're using a headset or something like that with Pulse Audio. You're trying to actually say, "Oh, I need to actually change the input or output."
Yep.
Mid game.
So Steam loaded up, zero issues. The first time through, I had a little problem where there is an older version of Steam in the repo than what's on the site. My recommendation for you would be install the version from the repo because Steam will self-update to the latest version. Once you have
that
it
might
loaded.
be a cleaner approach.
It does. I tried it both ways. That is definitely the cleaner way to go.
Good to know.
The Mate desktop, it's great. It's classic. If you're an XFCE user, but you've been itching for just a little bit more, but not too much more, you really got to try this out. Here's my question to you. Why can't they just do what kind of the GNOME guys did and just give a really classic theme to Cinnamon?
It does feel like Cinnamon struggles for a theme because it's got the features down really well. Everything's really easy to use, but it does kind of feel like it's missing a little something. It's really hard to put your finger on.
And I think, why couldn't you just reskin this to be Mate? And, maybe swap out some of the apps.
There's probably, I'm sure it's
I know,
doable.
over here, this desktop, it's great. We have HDMI video mirroring right now, and everything's working with the open source Radeon drivers, and Mate is singing with the open source drivers. There's no compositing required.
Right.
I mean, it's win-win-win over there. Low power, low heat, but at the same time, you look at the two projects, it's a small team, you think, I don't know. I just don't, Mate doesn't seem like a 5 to 10 year desktop to me. It seems
it looks good, but it does kind of feel like that furniture you bought in the 90s because it looked really good. Now you're looking at it going, yeah. And I've been there. I know how that goes.
And if, we were sitting here at the end of 2014 and a year from now, I would not be shocked to say the Mate project has gone into maintenance. Now, not to disparage them because I say go for it, guys, if that's what you love doing. But I just wonder if the relevance will start to decline a little bit and if there won't be other ways to accomplish what Mate is trying to accomplish.
Well, and I think with a lot of open source projects, it just comes down to what the individual developers are developing for their own interests and what they feel passionate about as far as the desktop experience. And I assume for the guys working on this is something they really want for themselves.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And that may be what it is. I mean, maybe that's really where we're at. And that's okay.
Very much. So if you're an Ubuntu user, if you're a Mint user, I'd say it is worth the hassle to upgrade Mint 16 because you're utilizing Ubuntu 13.10 underneath and all of the work they've done for the last 6 months. It's just absolutely worth it just for right there. Linux Mint 16 is the result of 6 months of incremental development on top of stable and reliable technologies.
Yep.
And this new release comes with updated software that brings refinements and new features to your desktop to make it more comfortable to use. And I completely agree with that sentiment. I think they've done a really good job. I think this is probably the best Mint release in the last 2 to 3 releases.
Oh,
at least the
easily.
last 2 releases. And
it feels like old school experience with Mint, definitely.
it is now right back. I have been waffling on what distro to recommend to totally green Linux users.
Right.
We get this question all the time.
Yeah, it's tough.
We've even experimented with recommending Manjaro. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm going back and I'm going to say Mint 16, my friend.
Which I have a Manjaro story for later on for the live viewers.
Very
But
nice.
Yeah, it's interesting with Mint. I do tend to find myself saying that's really where I'm going to recommend going. Just at the end of the day, I feel like it provides the most user-friendly experience because even if you're coming from Windows, it's like, oh, menu, start, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can put that together.
That was one
easily.
of Angela's comments too. Is she said, the one thing is once I kind of said, oh, it's kind of like the Windows paradigm. She's like,
Exactly.
well, then I just got everything in the menu. I could search for calculator. I could search for the web browser. She totally knew where to go with that search. And the search in this menu is fast. It is, so watch. Let's do so if I type in, I don't know if I have Chrome installed. Let's see. Do I have Chrome? No, I don't. Let's do gedit. Boom. Very fast. As fast as I can type, the menu is keeping up with me.
See, and I'm almost finding myself saying, if I'm running Linux Mint, I would almost say run with, I hate to say it, almost say run with Mate simply because of the fact that it's not only is it fast, just as Cinnamon is on a modern machine, but honestly, it's less about being glossy and more just about being functional.
It's very functional.
And for newer users, that might be really what they're looking for.
That's true. It's maybe a little less scary in that sense.
Yeah, a little less stuff and just getting it done.
Also, one last note.
Mm-hmm.
You notice how they very cleanly have search Google, search Wikipedia right there? Wouldn't that have been a much better way for Ubuntu to implement that?
You think?
Yeah. That right there is so much more cleaner, and it quote unquote lets you search search everything.
Exactly. It's like, what?
And I want to end maybe on this. No disparaging remarks for what the Ubuntu guys are doing.
No.
I think what Mint now lets us do, and I don't think there's a conflict here. I think Canonical and Ubuntu should be embracing Mint because it takes the pressure off. It takes the pressure off of them, lets them focus on mobile and on the touch UIs, and it lets somebody take their base and make a really compelling desktop that is just as competitive with any distro and any other commercial OS out there, offers the wide variety of compatibility that Ubuntu has, and the industry support, which, I love Arch, but there is still something to be said about Ubuntu support industry-wide.
Right.
You get all of that in Mint with a new UI, a new take, and some of that extra crap like the lens is removed. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, it provides a classic desktop experience, whether you want it glossy or you want it simple. They seem to cater to both audiences, and they do it really well. I feel comfortable in giving someone an ISO and saying, odds are this is going to run great for you. Drop it in your disk.
Yeah.
Just go.
This
You're
is
done.
This is definitely the recommend to somebody. Oh yeah, Mint. Yeah. The codecs are in there, and
Exactly.
so if you're kind of on the fence still, your homework is to go watch Linux Action Show Season 29, Episode 4, the Cinnamon 2 review. All of the stuff we say there applies to Mint because it is the same version. However, the Mint implementation is nicer, and I was pretty happy with the implementation we had on ours.
I'm really, really happy with it. Yeah, Linux Mint definitely felt like it was. It's almost like how how SUSE does KDE.
Yeah,
It has that parallel.
Well, that makes sense in a way because they have a lot of KDE folks at SUSE, and these guys made Cinnamon.
So
all that aside, are you toying with the idea of switching to Cinnamon for your
not
desktop?
on my main desktop. No,
Still sticking with XFCE.
yeah, I'm actually running. I'm finding myself migrating more and more to Cinnamon just because I'm really on an Integros setup. I can run it really quickly, even on lower spec machines. So it's kind of like.
So you might use more Cinnamon.
I might use more Cinnamon. I still got an XFCE on a few of them, and there's one Manjaro situation that I actually did a side by side comparison. Is really what are the nuts and bolts differences between them, and there are some differences there. So a little bit of everything. A little bit of everything.
All right, very good. So there you go. That's Matt's take on it. For me, more of a KDE guy these days. I'm going through my KDE phase. I like to experiment. It's college, Matt. I experiment. And for me, I'm going back to my Arch installation, running KDE. But if I was ever, at this point, going to leave Arch, if I was going to get all upset, I would switch to Mint 16. That would be what I switch to.
I probably would. I guess where I hang weird with Mint is I'm always afraid that I'm going to be let down with the next release, and I felt that way with Ubuntu as well. That everything's great, next release comes up, okay, wow, something's low, something's broken, something's, and so I'm always a little gun shy. I think that's kind of why I've found myself going to rolling releases.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I could see that.
Know.
It's
tough, but for newbies, oh heck yes.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's where I'm coming down. Newbies go with this. Linux pros, and by Linux pros, I just mean you've been using Linux for a little while even, and you're just comfortable with the terminal, you might want to consider a rolling release. There's also Linux Mint Debian Edition, which is more rolling. They have like update packs and stuff
Yeah,
like that, but you lose that Ubuntu compatibility.
I think you do, but if you're more of an advanced user that couldn't give a rip about Arch or any of these other distros and wants a nice Debian alternative, it's actually pretty cool, and it's something I would recommend looking at.
Yep.
Just something putting that out there.
Absolutely. All right, Matt. Well, that's the Linux Action Show's review of Linux Mint 16. And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. But hey, Matt.
Yes.
I got a couple of fun emails to get to.
Okay.
And I thought since the majority of folks listen to Linux Action Show on the go, why not do some visually heavy feedback?
Definitely.
Wait a minute.
What?
But we'll have links to this in the show notes if you want to see what we're talking about, because there's some good stuff. This first one didn't quite qualify as a runs Linux since it's not actually running Linux, but it was so awesome. I still want to cover it in the show. This Caterpillar runs Linux. It was submitted by going upstream to the subreddit. Now, Matt, do you see it? If you look at that
Oh my goodness, I see penguins.
look at that. Look at that.
Tuxes.
Look at that. That caterpillar has tux penguins all over it.
That qualify. It definitely runs Tux. That's awesome.
That'd be a freaky drone.
That would be just, oh my God. Crawling up in your rear.
All right, Matt. One more visual heavy one. Jimmy writes in, since we've been talking about desktops, he says, hi, Chris and Matt. Some time ago, you guys were asking for screenshots of our desktops. I'm running Linux Mint 15 KDE with a boatload of PPAs for like Netflix desktop, Clementine, LibreOffice, GitDeb, Wine, and Steam, of course. By the way, if you need some suggestions for show content, what about the newest version of LibreOffice? Maybe.
Yeah. I guess everybody says it's got these new features. It's like, what are the features I use? It's a tough one. It's a tough one because I got to really get my dial down into it.
We'd have to play with it, I suppose. I'll take a look.
Yeah.
So here is his screenshot. You ready?
Sure.
Pow. Look at that. Look how nice that KDE desktop is, Matt. Look how nice that is. That is a clean KDE desktop right there.
Good choices. It's got a good head on shoulders.
Yeah, we were just saying during the break that KDE is, you can just make it whatever you want. This is a great example of that.
Got HP Lip running. Good stuff.
All right, Matt. So thank you guys. We'll have more feedback in Linux Unplugged. Speaking of Linux Unplugged, you should go check that out. Meet the Dockers, episode 16, where we interviewed the CTO and founder of Docker. That'd be a good one to go grab. Of course, what was it? The week before, we've having guests on lately. I can't remember.
I know.
It's
who was?
Don't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't remember. But we did have some guests on. I think it was Negative in the Practical Dimension.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's been cool.
It's such a blur.
You can be a guest too. We have an open Mumble room. We bring those in during the show. We get their opinions. It's kind of like an online Linux users group.
Well, it gives you guys an opportunity to really tell it like it is.
All right, Matt. So last chance to check in on the shirt to see how we're doing. Oh,
90.
Look, just came in. We've got 90 shirts sold, and that's not bad for the live stream.
That is not bad at all
Thank
for
you,
the
guys.
live stream. That's
So-
an excellent starting point.
We're sort of pinning our hopes on the sale of the shirt because honestly, I didn't really consider what would happen if we didn't sell 500 shirts. So hopefully we'll meet that 500. And one shirt's already been sold to Mr. Van Dam, as you can see. Look at that, Matt. Now
that is well. See, that's he crawled out of bed, not a Christmas bed.
Got a shirt on.
How that works, but crawled out of bed, bought the shirt, and now he is rocking it. And he's so excited that it made his head bigger.
Yeah, Van Dam is so amazing. He actually spun that from the blankets on my bed using his feet.
Wow.
Yeah, while I was eating a bowl of cereal.
Seriously.
That's
so
how
he's
cool he
like
is.
knitting with his toes.
Yeah. So teespring.com/Jupiter2014. Please, you guys, help us out if you can.
Yes.
This is a limited shirt. We'll only be offering it for 2 weeks. And we'd really appreciate it if you help us out. We'll be wrapping up in 2 weeks, so it'll be the next episode, or not the next week's, but the week after.
And for you guys that are buying these shirts, get yourself some pictures. Get yourself a picture taken of you wearing it. And we will actually be featuring those in a future episode.
That'd be awesome.
Make it happen, guys. Be part of the team.
Very cool. All right, if you'd like to get a hold of Linux Action Show, go to jupiterbroadcasting.com and click the contact link at the top of our site, and then choose choose Linux Action Show from the drop down, and just fill it in. You can even attach something if you want, if you're crazy like that. Yeah. And then we'll read it either on this show or a future Linux Unplugged. Right. You can also watch us live on a Sunday over at jblive.tv. Just go to jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar, and we'll have the time zone automatically listed in your neck of the woods. The live audience is awesome. They're hanging out in our chat room right now,
they are.
ribbing us as we go. Always giving us a hard time about our pronunciation, and also helping us stay on the straight and narrow. So we appreciate it when you guys can join there. Plus, you get to hang out with us in between the show. There's a lot more show that goes on.
There is a lot more show, and it'd be really cool to see how that works out.
Chat with you guys.
Yeah.
It's fun. And then, like, when I go potty, Matt just hangs out with you guys. And then when Matt goes potty, I hang out with you guys. And then this morning, before the show, I was playing a little Trine 2 on the live stream.
This is true.
I love Trine 2. I got some Trine 2 to give away in the future, too, so stay tuned
Oh,
for
cool.
that. Yeah, we got a really great episode coming up next week. We're going to be banging on some Linux hardware, so we'd love to have you guys join us for that.
Yes.
But that wraps us up for this week's episode of the Linux Action Show. We'll see you right back here next week. Bye-bye.
Because, I mean, at the end of the day, don't force us to dress like Sally Struthers, because we'll do it. We will straight up do it, and we'll be like, I'll be like the little kid and stand in front of the straw hat.
One tier. So, switching to KDE, one of the things I've noticed is, a lot of times in Linux, applications on the desktop start to get pretty feature rich.
Sure.
And then the developer either quits and somebody else takes it over, or they reboot it to base it on a new toolkit, like from GTK to GTK3.
Sorry.
Yeah, and you just dump a ton of features,
Yeah.
and so you kind of do a reset. And I feel like because KDE 4 has been out for so long and has been maturing, like a lot of the Qt apps are beyond that. They're now adding the really nice to have features.
Yeah.
And so on the KDE desktop, the fruit of the last 5 years is now really starting to bear.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to enjoy sort of iterative updates that have now added. There's just a few things in KDE that are just so nice.
Certain niceties that it's like this almost could be considered a must-have.
Like when you take a screenshot and you click Save To, you can do desktop, and then there's imagers in there and save to FTP.
Right.
It's just this is so great.
Yeah, I don't have to go and bounce from one thing to another. Yeah, certainly.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Although I got to tell you, the KDE Live news, that's the developers MIA. I don't know what's going on with that. That's a little. I really use that app a lot. So
I didn't put it. I don't like it to get into the raw speculation, so I didn't put it in the news segment.
Yeah.
But I'm a little worried.
I know I'm deeply concerned because it's not just for his own well-being, but also selfishly because I really love that app.
So I got this bacon.
Wow.
And it's good. It's
Holy crap, that's awesome.
It's from Nukes, I think is how you pronounce it. I don't know.
Some fancy
I ordered it
stuff.
online. It is nationwide award-winning bacon.
Award-winning, wow.
It's apple smoked.
Oh, wow.
Applewood smoked bacon.
Dude.
I like it. I'm not a huge fan of it, so I want to just.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put it in the freezer, but you could have it.
Oh, definitely.
Take it home.
Yeah?
Now, if
Dude, totally.
now we eat a lot of bacon here in the Fisher
That's
house.
awesome.
Put that in a glass pan in the oven, 400 degrees, cold. You just put it in there, cold, 400 degrees, 20 minutes, totally cooked, crispy, ready to go.
Smoke.
Boy, I can smell the whiskey coming off this thing. Holy shite.